If it bleeds, we can kill it. Hulu's Prey takes the Predator way back in time, pitting one of the greatest hunters in the galaxy versus Comanche warriors in the 1700s. New time period, same deadly predator stalking the most challenging hunt it can find. Directed by Dan Trachtenberg, Prey tells the story of the predator species' first hunt on Earth. We've got the recap and we'll break down that ending, plus the Easter eggs we spotted while on this epic adventure. But before we get into all of that, I have to warn you, we are about to spoil this entire movie. So if you haven't seen it yet or just don't want to know, now would be the appropriate time to slather yourself in mud and hope that giant killer alien doesn't find you. Okay, now that we're past the spoiler warning, let's get right to the recap. It's the year 1719 in the northern Great Plains, and a predator is dropped off here on Earth to find and hunt the planet's apex predator. You know, pretty standard predator-style stuff. And in fact, the basic story in Prey is also pretty standard Predator-style stuff, in a good way. A fierce human warrior uses their wits and their environment to hunt down and kill a deadly alien warrior whose sole purpose for being there is to hunt and kill. Like we mentioned in our full review, Prey takes Predator back to its roots. It's all about the hunt. So our main character is Naru. She's a Comanche warrior and hunter, and her family seems to think she should leave the hunting to the guys and instead focus on gathering and healing, which she's also really good at.
Why do you want to hunt? Because you all think that I can't.
While Naru, her brother Tabe, and a group of warriors are hunting a mountain lion, they find one of their own wounded by the big cat. Naru saves his life by giving him an orange flower that makes him feel cold because it lowers his body temperature and fights infection. Very handy thing to know, and remember that because it comes up again later. Tabe eventually slays the lion, but during all of this, the predator is out there doing predator shit. He's hunting his way through the forest, kind of climbing his way up the food chain, looking for the most challenging prey he can find. We see him kill a wolf and a bear, and because he's a predator, he usually leaves a mess behind. And it's because of this that Naru starts to figure out that there's something out there in the forest that could very well be hunting them. She's right about that, obviously, but the thing is, there's also a bunch of French trappers/poachers in the area doing heinous things to the wildlife, like killing a whole herd of bison just to skin them. After a run-in with a swampy bog that nearly swallowed her up Artak style, Naru watches the predator kill the bear, and the predator sees her try to sneak away before being rescued by the warriors of her tribe. And I say rescued in quotes here because the predator just followed Naru to them and started picking them off one by one, and it is bloody. Finally, it's just Naru left, and she's running for her life, and she gets caught in an iron trap set by the trapper poachers. They take Naru back to their camp, where they also have Tabe held prisoner. The trappers are also aware that the predator is out there, and they want to use Naru and Tabe as bait to draw out the creature and kill it, which, I mean, good luck with that. Naru and Tabe escape, of course, and the predator engages the trappers, who finds their muskets pretty inconvenient in a fight like this. The predator just starts laying waste to anyone he comes across, and Naru sneaks back into the trapper's camp, frees her dog, and starts murking fools with her throwing axe. 'Cause she is a badass. She temporarily saves a trapper who is down a whole leg after a formal introduction to the predator. He gives her his pistol, and she stops his bleeding and gives him the orange flowers that allows him to play dead when the predator comes to finish the job. This is where we learn that consuming the orange flowers can drop a person's body temperature enough to avoid detection by the predator's heat vision. Naru witnesses this happen, and that helps her come up with her own plan to win the hunt. The final fight starts as Naru and Tabe both engage the predator, and Tabe holds his own for a while, but you know these predator fights are all fun and games until somebody gets impaled. Which is exactly what happens. After briefly escaping, Naru preps for the final confrontation. She eats a bunch of the orange flowers, and she uses a trapper as bait to lure the predator, which works, and it allows Naru to use that special pistol to install a moonroof in the back of the alien's head. She steals the predator's helm, different from the helmets we've seen predators wear in the past, but it does aid in aiming his ranged projectiles. Plus, stealing it just made him super mad. and as the alien chases her down, she attacks from above, further wounding it. She eventually drives it into the swamp that almost swallowed her, and it wouldn't have killed the predator, but it did slow it down long enough for Naru to set up the killing blow, using the bone helm to redirect the alien's targeted projectile bolts so they wound up inside his own forehead. So, just like in other installments of the Predator franchise, the victorious hunter has to figure out how the alien tech works and how to get around it. That precedent was set way back in Predator 1, and Naru's plan echoes what Dutch does in that movie, which is in this movie's future. You know, it's in the future, so maybe Dutch echoes what Naru does. Confusing. It's all about those orange flowers though, so obviously they allowed Naru to do the same thing that Arnold Schwarzenegger's Dutch does in the first Predator when he covers himself in mud to bring down his body temperature and evade the Predator's scanners and sight. After defeating the Predator, Naru cuts its head off and carries it back to her village alone. She is celebrated as a warrior, and she warns her people of the dangers brought by both the alien and the trappers, and that they should move to protected ground. And usually we do a whole section on Easter eggs, but based on how this movie is set up with the whole 300 years in the past kind of thing, it's tough to cram in visual references to Danny Glover or Arnold Schwarzenegger. That said, there were two big references to prior movies that we picked out.
You son of a bitch.
The first one is actually a reference to Arnold Schwarzenegger.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
This, of course, is Schwarzenegger's line from the first Predator.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
And the other big one, a reference to Danny Glover's Predator 2. It's this pistol that Naru tosses to the elders after also tossing the Predator's head. It's the same pistol with the same inscription Danny Glover gets as his prize for killing his own Predator 300 years later. This means that at some point, Predators must have come back to Earth to retrieve that gun. So, fun Easter egg? You bet. Bad news for Naru and her tribe? Probably. Yeah, big time. So what did you think of Prey? What other time periods do you want to see the Predator franchise go next? Let us know down in the comments. Anyway, thanks for watching this episode of Cannon Fodder, and for more Predator, check out the whole film series in 5 minutes, and don't forget to follow and subscribe to IGN wherever you like to watch. And click with heat vision. And 3 little red dots. Ah!